I'll adopt the latter half and say I am well. How are you, sir?
I am great. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Yeah, you know what? I don't mind being offended sometimes. We go through life and everybody is so wanting to not be offended by life. Life isn't fair. Get over it. Stop your whining. Get to work. Somebody told me this morning that people, mega red hat wearing bigots like me, should not be able to go enjoy Cinco de Mayo today. We need to go to Cracker Barrel. I could be offended, but I just kind of laughed at it, and I might go by Cracker Barrel and get some that hash brown casserole that I love on my way to go get a Corona and a burrito tonight.
You know, when Cinco de Mayo, Taco Tuesday, and the Democrats losing their illegal Democrat gerrymander, disenfranchisement, redistricting power grab all land on the same day, that the stars have aligned.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Where are we? It's been 2 weeks. I got back from Ireland just in time to watch the Supreme Court hear the oral arguments. Ken Cuccinelli had an interesting tweet yesterday saying, wait a minute, why have they not scheduled Tazewell 2? Tazewell 1 filed before the election, Tazewell 2 after the election. They haven't put that on their court docket. You would think they got to get that going on as well right now. So everybody's looking at the tea leaves. And I know I've talked to people on both sides. They're like, I don't want to get too excited, but I could see a path where we win.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know, but the Code of Virginia, I could read it to you, but essentially it says you have 2 weeks after the referendum to certify the results of the referendum. Or, presumably, there are no results of a referendum, and the referendum is null and void. Now, I'm not that good at math, which is why I'm an attorney, 804-869-4444. But I think we're 2 weeks from April 21st today.
Yes, we are.
So, yeah, I mean, the Supreme Court, in an act of brazen defiance, might just choose not to do anything, thus leaving the injunction essentially drafted by Judge Hurley and Tazewell in effect and obviating, that means canceling out for those of you who vote Democrat, the results of the referendum. It's been, and I will say this, and you all know this, your listeners know this, government doesn't do a good job of keeping secrets. And I mean, I know a couple of people, and mum's been the word. I will say, though, that Senator Louise Lucas has raised apparently well over $5,000 selling T-shirts with a map of the new congressional districts emblazoned with the words 10 to effing, and she actually wrote it out, 1. So I can't raise any darn money, but Louise Lucas has raised $5,000 selling T-shirts that say 10 to effing 1 on them. So, you know, never.
You never know. And so I talked to a judge yesterday and someone who teaches at a law school, and he goes, well, it depends on, I read the statute to him, and I was talking to him last night, and I said, you remember Bush v. Gore? The Supreme Court actually ran out of time, and they go, I know, Gore, you still think you have one more opportunity to get a recount, but we've run out of time. It's time to move on. And I said, could the clock be ticking? And he said, it depends on whether the stay that the Supreme Court failed to give Jay Jones, because Jay Jones wanted to overturn the stay. Let me back up so everybody understands. Tazewell Court says after the election, yeah, you know what? There's something going on. You can't certify these election results. Afterwards, excuse me. They say afterwards you can't certify these election results. That's Tazewell 2. Tazewell 1 was the one that's already gone before the Supreme Court. My friend, the judge and the law professor, said that depends on, does the Tazewell 2 stay stop that 2-week clock from the Board of Elections? And that's unclear right now. So could the Supreme Court just have a pocket veto? Sorry, it ran out. We didn't get to it in time. Board of Elections had to certify within 2 weeks. They didn't. Sorry, it's all over and we move on, or something else.
Yeah, and I thought you were going to say all that so you could get a Bill Clintonism in and say it depends on what the definition of is. There's no indication that they are doing anything to modify the existing code of the Commonwealth of Virginia with relation to the 14-day deadline. You would think that someone would say, yeah, we know what the law says, but we're going to put that on hold, right? Pending, the circumstances here. Now, I don't even think they could do that, but,
It hasn't been addressed.
I guess they could do a lot of things. I was looking at my phone like all day yesterday, waiting on something to happen, and it's just, I mean, we'll see. I made the argument, I think, as well as anybody, that they couldn't do it for about 4 or 5 different reasons, and they did it anyway. And you were there for the oral arguments. The mainstream media seemed to believe that it was looking good for the no side because the volume of questions targeted at the yes side. Now, I was a little bit nervous when Jay Jones got involved because he does have a history of doing things like beating the rap on 116 and 65. So I thought maybe he was really good.
Now leave him alone. He did do his community service by working for his own political campaign.
He got paid to do community service for himself. That was good.
Yeah.
That was, remember, 3 bullets, Hitler, Pol Pot, and Todd Gilbert.
Don't take me down that rabbit hole because we'll never get to everything else. All right. So we're waiting to see. So how much time does it, I mean, realistically, and I put it this way, if we're going to have people run under this new map, then they're placemen. They're put there by patrons. They're not really honestly elected because the maps are fixed. If not, we go back to the old districts. I mean, you ran for Congress. How much time does it take? How much effort does it take to get your petition signed to get on the ballot inside a district?
Well, it usually takes a decent amount of time, particularly if you have a large rural district, because you don't have concentrations of people. However, the incumbents, be they Democrat or Republican, and people like Eileen Lauria, who Louise Lucas District 4 in the Senate of Virginia, she said the only person I know we drew a district for was Eileen Lauria. But the people who've done this before should have sort of a mechanism. It's tough when you have multiple candidates in a field, and you want to get the local committees or whatever to help, but the local committees might be split 5 ways on who they want to support. But they also changed the Virginia law, since we don't know the districts, now saying that you don't need a certain number of signatures from inside your congressional district. You just need a certain number of signatures from inside Virginia. So wait
a second, time out. So now they're saying they changed the law for this. I mean, am I just making rules up? I mean, Tom, I feel like I'm playing. I have an uncle that's 4 years older than I am. My mom had a big family. He's 4 years older than I am. And we go play basketball. And every time I'd start to catch up with him, he changed the rules. No, that's not a 3-point shot anymore. Oh, no, you don't have enough fouls. Anytime I got close to him, he just changed the rules. This feels like you're playing a game against your older brother, and when little brother gets close enough, you change the rules halfway so there's no competition.
So we have this rule in the General Assembly that if a bill's going to be heard, they have to give the patron 24 hours notice. But when we had bills that we knew would be popular, we wanted to get people down there to speak to them. So what they started doing was telling us like at 9 a.m. that the bill would be heard at 11 a.m. that day. Now, you are pretty good at math. That's not 24 hours.
Nope.
But the sort of colloquialism I came up with is when you make the rules, as the Speaker of the House does, and enforce the rules, as the Speaker of the House does, there are no rules.
You make them as you go.
Guys, right? Literally rules for thee and not for me. So that's a lot. I mean, the number of rules they've changed to get their redistrict, the number of laws they've broken or set aside or ex post facto done away with, it's something.
Okay,
because I wasn't even counting the one on ballot signatures.
All right, so I want our listeners to get this straight. As we're talking with Tom Garrett, member of the House of Delegates, former member of the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. You're telling me that the Democrats of Virginia have changed the rules that I don't even have to have people signing my petition to get on the ballot to run for the House of Representatives that live in my district. I can go get people anywhere I want. All 11 of these districts, I could go to Northern Virginia, get all the signatures I want from Loudoun County, from Alexandria. I don't need to go down to Roanoke. I don't need to go to Richmond. I don't need to go to Norfolk. I can just go get all Northern Virginians to sign my petition, and that's good enough to run for Congress.
You're correct, sir.
How is that representation? If you have people that don't even live in your district, they're allowed to vote, allowed to put you on the ballot. I'm sorry, right. Say that again?
I mean, I said, how is it representation when politicians are picking their voters and not the other way around?
Well, I mean, just on this.
Because I read the Democrats' comments. I read the Democrats' comments like, you don't seem incensed about Florida. Actually, I was extolling the virtue of the women and men in Indiana who refused to do a gerrymander. But they say, you don't seem upset about Florida. And I'm like, it's because Florida. And they're like, we had a referendum. They just, dude, it wasn't a constitutional amendment in any other state.
No.
Like, again, it's the Constitution. It's like this law, and then there's sacrosanct.
California did have a constitutional amendment that they overrode with that Prop 50. But again, I just want to make sure everybody knows. You talk about changing the rules, moving the goalpost, whatever you want to call it, Lucy and Charlie in the football, or playing basketball with my Uncle Philip, who would cheat whenever I got close enough to beat him. The Democrats...
Phil Herrera, that guy.
Yeah, my Uncle Philip, awful. You're telling me now, for Dan Helmer and all the rest of these people that are running on the Democratic side, I don't have to get signatures to be on the ballot to run for the House of Representatives from people that represent my district. I can go get them anywhere I want in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They don't have to be compact. They don't have to be contiguous. They don't have to be their neighbors. I could go from one side of this state and get them all from one community, and it doesn't matter if not one person in the community that I'm running to represent sign my petition. I can go to Northern Virginia and get all of them. Those are placemen. Those aren't members of the House of Representatives. Those are placemen that are put there by patrons to do somebody else's dirty work.
Yes.
That makes me mad. I mean, that makes me even more upset, because now not only are you gerrymandering, now you're changing the rules along the way. That's garbage.
Herrera's like we've role reversed here, dude. Like, you're going crazy. Look, to be fair, Dan Helmer's run for Congress twice before under the old rules, and he's lost both times. So maybe it's like affirmative action for Dan Helmer. He really wants that lapel pin, and the third time could be a charm as long as he gets to pick his voters. You know what's funny? No matter what happens, I know that life is just a short jaunt to eternity, and I'm smiling and I'm happy. And these folks are beating our brains in every day down in Richmond, and they're still miserable. And if there's any stronger witness to what understanding what life's really about means than the fact that I'm smiling and they're crying, I don't know what it is.
Wow. Again, you're 100% right. It's remarkable. All right. Get out of here. We'll catch up with you next week. Tom Garrett joins us on Tuesdays with a little update of what goes on inside the General Assembly building. And we'll see. And by the way, if we get a Supreme Court decision before then, of course, we'll invite you back at your instant reaction as well. Okay. Oh, he's gone. Oh, they picked him up. Oh, the producers want to talk to him. All right. That's Tom Garrett joining us here on News Radio WRVA. All right. Let's talk a little bit about your future. How much thought have you put into it? I know you put a lot of work into it. You worked hard for that money.